Hey guys, welcome back to Mark's Outdoor Adventures. Today I wanted to talk about trailers. Trailers for your jigs, trailer for your spinner baits, trailers for your chatter baits, trailer for your buzz baits. Just trailers. Uh, there's a lot of new anglers that doesn't realize the different trailers there are. They don't realize there's or think about the fact that you can turn them in different directions to get a better action out of them or to look more natural. It's just something that they don't think about, and some of the older anglers don't think about it either. But I wanted to talk about trailers today and give everybody a idea on a better way to rig your trailers to catch more fish. First of all, I want to talk about my little finesse jigs. The True Faith Custom Bait finesse jigs. They're 1/4 ounce. A couple of smaller ones, but I use 1/4 ounce most of the time. Just a little arky head that I make, and just a little finesse jig. And the trailers that I like to use on those is this little guy right here. That little guy, it is a great little finesse trailer. And also, where are they at? Gotta find them. Got too much stuff over here. I do have some. Here we go. Now we're cooking with grease. Okay. These trailers are made by Puddle Jumper. They're actually a crappie bait. That was the first one I showed you. They're actually a crappie bait, but they work freaking awesome on a finesse jig. And also the Puddle Jumpers the 3-inch Puddle Jumper you can put that, maybe not this exact color, but I got some chartreuse ones and green pumpkin ones that you can put on the back of a jig. Finesse jig, and it is money in the bank. Puddle Jumpers, made here in Northwest Arkansas. You can find them online, and yeah, you better slow down. You can find them online and get you some Puddle Jumpers and some of those little craw deals like I showed you, and put them on your finesse jigs, and they are a wonderful finesse jig bait. The way you put them on there is you just thread them on through the body, find it. Like I said, I don't have any of my finesse jigs here to show you. Put one on to show you. But I can kind of demonstrate with one of these other baits real quick of how they go on. Pretend this is that small finesse jig, and you would just take it and thread it up on the finesse jig, and that would be hanging down like that. After you threaded it on your finesse jig, it'd be laying flat like a rock, like if you was going to skip a rock, like if you want to skip your jig or whatever. The flatter it is, the better it skips, and this little dude right here will skip. So just remember puddle jumpers. I'll get you some of those, and then some 3-inch puddle jumpers, and you can use them on your finesse jigs. There we go. And same thing with your puddle jumper. Your little 3-inch puddle jumper. You want it to be lay flat too. You just stick the hook through the middle of the body and thread it up on your finesse jig, and that way the legs will be hanging straight down like that, and that way it's flat, and you can skip it too. But anyway, those two deals are awesome for your finesse jigs. And thank you, Puddle Jumpers. Puddle Jumpers has made crappie baits for years and years. I used to just rip them, rip the crappie on Puddle Jumper lures. And I'd forgot about them, and I used to throw them all the time, just rip the crappie on them, and somehow, some reason, I got away from them, and recently started using them again, and they're just as awesome now as they was years ago. Anyway, alright, we're moving on. We'll move on to regular, like football jigs, arky head jigs, just any other kind of jig. Alright.
We're trying to find there's a girls' varsity softball game tonight.
Right.
You know where the field is?
Right back there. It's just follow that lane that's right there.
Oh, so we're close.
Yeah, where they're putting that fence, where you see that truck and trailer.
Oh, okay.
Where you see those red dugouts, that's their new dugouts. You're in the right spot.
We went to the high school first. I had to Google it.
Yeah, it's right there. You too. Okay. Regular football jigs. Sorry for the interruption. you can use baits like the baby brush hog style baits. You just pinch it off a little bit. You don't have to use the whole thing. It's a little bit too long most time. Just pinch it off where there's just enough of it sticking where the flappers and those two flappers and these feet are hanging off the bottom of the hook. The baby brush hog makes an excellent jig trailer. One thing I like to do is I like to split these flappers right here. Take a pair of scissors or something, split them 2 or 3 times. Gives a little extra action. And you do this just like the puddle jumper baits. You just thread it up on the hook. Got those for jig trailers. And I got a ton of jig trailers out there. I'm getting this other box over here to do it.
Go ahead.
Good night. Too much crap. Alright, let's see. Football jig trailers. There's a craw trailer. Craw top trailer. And stall trailer. I don't see any. I don't think I have any of those with me, doggone it. I got everything else in the world. Anyway, get this up here real quick. Another trailer I really like to use is for jigs. Is the Zoom Z-Craw. The Zoom Z-Craw. They work great.
Washington County to Greenland 11050.
For a jig trailer.
Greenland 1.
They've got little grooves in them on both sides. So when you thread them on your jig, the hook can actually lay down in that groove and be weedless, and that way you don't have to have the point of your hook in the plastic. You don't have to set the hook through the plastic. Whenever the fish comes up and grabs it and you set the hook, it just pushes down and the hook goes right in the fish's mouth, and it'll help you hook more fish. So that's the Zoom Z-Craw, and it is also, I'll just go ahead and talk about it. Zoom Z-Craw is one of my favorite trailers for everything. It goes on my jigs. You can put it on a buzz bait. Here's a buzz bait. You can thread that bad dog on a buzz bait. I kind of got it crooked there, but you can thread it on there, and it'll flat catch them on the buzz bait. It gives the buzz bait a different look. Instead of a toad, try a Z-Craw. Spinner bait, same thing. Just thread it up on the old spinner bait hook. Make sure your hook comes out in the middle. You always want your hook to come out in the middle of the body so it runs straight. You can put it on there as a spinner bait trailer. Works great. A chatterbait. You can put these things on a chatterbait. Now the chatterbait, when you put it on the chatterbait, you want to do it sideways. And the swim jig, chatterbait and the swim jig, you want to thread them on there sideways. You thread it on a chatterbait or swim jig sideways like that, and it gives it more of a realistic look. It looks like the fins is a flapping back there, and works awesome on a swim bait and chatterbait trailer. You can also rig it like that on a spinner bait to give it more of a realistic look. The buzz bait, you want to rig it for sure the other way where it's flat, just to like this where it's flat. That helps the buzz bait have lift and buoyancy, and doesn't and reduces the drag on the bait, so you can reel it slower and have slower retrieves with that as a trailer. Right, there's the Zoom Z-Craw. And then you have the craw style baits. Oops. You can use your favorite craws. You can use like the Ultra Vibe. Here's the Zoom Ultra Vibe. You can use those. You can use the big Zoom. Hello. Right back there. There should be. That's the softball field back there. Yeah. Where that truck and trailer's back there, that'll be the softball field. There's a pickup, there's a flatbed and a trailer back there. They're working on the field. Okay. So I figure they're still playing there tonight. Okay. That's what I thought. No, it's back here. Have a good night. Anyway, use any of the Zoom cross style baits. You can use the Striking cross style baits. You can use Z-Man cross style baits. There's just all kinds of cross style baits that people make. Rage Cross by Striking, and Zoom has a crawl, and just everybody makes a crawl. You can use the salty crawl too, the old school salty crawl, and they all work great. And just thread them up on there on your jig. And another good jig trailer is a twin tail grub. This is a hula grub. I don't ever use that top part on a jig, but this twin tail part, you just thread this little body up on your hook and leave those two twin tails dangling below your hook, and that is an excellent jig trailer. There's pork trailers, and there's plastic chunks, and there's pork chunks, and there's a couple of ways that you can use those chunks, the plastic chunks and the pork chunks. Say this is a chunk, you can either hook it just straight through right here and make a bigger profile and let it hang down, or you'll thread it up here you'll thread the chunk part up on the hook and make it a smaller profile. Just depends on what size of a profile that you want on your bait. If you want a big profile, just hook it through the top and let it just hang off your hook. Just dangle off your hook. It'll freely move. Or you can thread it on there where it's more stable and won't move, and it'll make a smaller profile on your jigs. Alright. Alright, now we can talk about spinner baits and buzz baits. We already kind of have. We went over using a Z-Craw for a spinner bait, buzz bait.
Washington County Farmington 91050.
Trailer. Anyway, so now on the spinner baits and buzz baits, you can use the Z-Craw as I showed you. Then you can use minnow style baits, shad style baits, such as that. That's a shad imitating bait. It's got an eye and everything on it. And what you do, if you want to use one of these for on a buzz bait, you just take it and thread it up here on here, and thread it up on there, and there you'd have it. You'd have that minnow on there with your hook sticking up. You'd have that minnow on there as a trailer. You can use it just like that. You can throw the buzz bait just like that with no skirt, or you can run this up and under the skirt, and that makes a good buzz bait trailer. Spinner bait trailer. Now spinner baits, what I normally do, depends on the plastic. If it's a pretty limber plastic, you can get by with doing it just like on the buzz bait. You'd run it up here and have it like that. But a lot of them, I put it upside down. I put my minnow upside down on here. And it gives that paddle tail has a different action and looks more natural in the water a lot of times when it's upside down. Same way with the chatterbait. I will do it upside down quite often on a chatterbait as well. But you can use flukes as buzzbait and spinnerbait trailers. Any of the shad imitators, you know, are good. The Z-Craw is good. So those are my main ones I use on spinnerbait and buzzbait. Is the minnow style, or the Z-Craw, or a fluke. Now on the chatterbaits and swim baits. Same thing on the chatterbait, swim baits, the minnow styles, the flukes, the Z-Craws. But I have a new trailer that I love to put on my chatterbaits. This is a Hog Farmer this is from Hog Farmer Bait Company, and these are spunk shad pintails. It doesn't take much for that little tail to just flop everywhere. You put that on the back of a chatterbait and let that chatterbait start doing its thing. That thing wags like crazy and the fish can't stand it. So you're going to want to get some Hog Farmers spunk shads to go on the back of your chatterbaits, I promise. And again, you just want to say this is your chatterbait. You're just going to stick that right there in the nose of it, in the middle of the nose. Thread that thing up on there.
Washington County, Lincoln 6, 1050.
And there you go. That'll be on your chatterbait. 10-4. And your swim bait. And these also, if you want to use them for swim baits, they have little slots in them for your hook to lay in, but your hook's not going to lay in it on a chatterbait or swim bait. So, chatterbait, swim bait trailer, freaking awesome. I hadn't tried it on a spinnerbait or buzzbait or anything like that yet, but they may work just as awesome on the spinnerbait and buzzbait. But for sure, on the chatterbait and swim baits, you'll want to try that Hog Farmer spunk shad, because they are awesome on those. But anyway, this turned into about a 30-minute video. I don't usually like to go that long. We had a couple interruptions with people, but didn't last too long. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here for now. And y'all have a blessed week, and I hope to see you on the water soon. And please hit subscribe and pass it along to your friends, and we'll get the YouTube channel to grow. Y'all have a great week, a great weekend, and we'll see you later.